Have you ever felt like life is slipping through your fingers? Like every day is a blur and your dreams remain just out of reach? There is a quiet desperation that creeps into our hearts when we watch hours pass, scrolling, worrying, hesitating, and yet doing nothing. The fear of failure, the weight of doubt, the endless what-ifs. They can feel like chains that hold us down, invisible, yet unyielding. Imagine standing at the edge of a vast river, watching the current sweep by, wondering if you will ever reach the other shore. Every morning the sun rises, but it feels like the same day, the same struggles, the same mistakes. You whisper to yourself, tomorrow I'll start. Tomorrow I'll change. Yet tomorrow keeps turning into tomorrow, and still you feel stuck. Have you asked yourself lately, what am I waiting for? What if I never take that first step? What if my life quietly slips away while I'm still standing at the edge? This is the story of Amir, a young man in his late 20s. He lived in a small, crowded city, surrounded by noise. The honking of cars, the chatter of neighbors, the constant hum of life rushing past him. He woke every morning with a heaviness in his chest, dragging himself to a job that felt meaningless, scrolling endlessly through social media, watching other people live the lives he dreamed of. His apartment was cluttered, not just with things, but with the weight of indecision. Books half read, journals filled with thoughts never acted upon, and a small, dusty guitar leaning against the wall, a reminder of music he once loved but abandoned for comfort. Nights were the hardest. Lying awake, staring at the ceiling, his mind replayed all the chances he never took, all the words left unsaid, all the ideas never pursued. He felt trapped in a loop of anxiety, frustration, and quiet regret. Amir often asked himself, am I meant for something more? Or is this all life has for me? But the answer never came, and so the days passed, one after another, like waves lapping against a distant, unreachable shore. One evening, Amir overheard a conversation at a local cafe. An old man was telling a young listener about a sage who lived far beyond the mountains near a river that reflected the sky so perfectly it was said to show the truth of one's soul. Something about the way the old man spoke made Amir's heart stir. Could he really leave everything behind and journey to meet this wise person? Fear whispered in his ear, it's too far. You'll fail. You're not ready. But another voice, softer and more persistent, said, what if this is what you've been waiting for? The next morning, Amir packed lightly. His journey was long and uncertain. He walked through thick forests, climbed craggy hills, and crossed streams that chilled him to the bone. The sun burned overhead during the day, and the cold crept in at night. But he pressed on, driven by a strange mix of fear and hope. Along the way, he encountered obstacles that mirrored his inner struggle. A sudden storm forced him to take shelter under a fallen tree. Hunger and exhaustion gnawed at his resolve, and yet, every time he wanted to turn back, he remembered the quiet whisper that had nudged him out the door, the hope of discovering the life he had been wasting. Finally, after days of travel, Amir arrived at a small clearing by the river. There, sitting on a flat rock, was an old sage. His eyes were sharp yet gentle, his hair white as snow, and the calmness around him seemed to make the river itself still. You've come far, the sage said, without smiling, but distance does not measure worth. Amir bowed, unsure what to say. The sage continued, tell me, young man, what is it you seek? Amir's voice trembled. I feel like I've wasted my life. I don't know where to start. I am lost. The sage nodded slowly. Then you must do what all lost souls must first learn. He stood and gestured to the river. Take this pebble and throw it into the water. Watch where it lands. Amir frowned. That's it? The sage shook his head. Not what it seems. You will find your answer in how you throw it, not where it lands. He picked up a small, smooth pebble from the riverbank and held it in his hand. The weight felt heavier than it should. He threw it clumsily. The pebble skipped once, twice, and then sank. Amir felt frustrated. He tried again, adjusting his stance, his aim, his force. Each throw was different, some graceful, some awkward, some barely reaching the water. Hours passed. The sun dipped low. Amir's arms ached. Doubt returned, stronger than before. Maybe this is pointless. Maybe I'm just wasting time again. The sage watched silently, letting the wind and the rustling leaves fill the gaps in the silence. Amir wanted to quit, but something inside whispered, "Keep going." There is something here. Finally, as dusk painted the sky in streaks of gold and crimson, Amir picked up a pebble and held it in both hands. He closed his eyes, breathed deeply, and thought about his life, all the moments he had delayed, all the choices he had avoided. He let his doubts go, at least for this moment, and threw the pebble with intention, not force. The pebble glided through the air, skipping gently across the surface of the river, before sinking slowly, leaving perfect concentric ripples behind. Amir opened his eyes, and for the first time in years, he felt stillness. The sage smiled. "Do you see?" he asked. "Life is like this river. Every choice, every action, even small, creates ripples. Some you can see, some you cannot. But none are wasted if you are intentional. To stop wasting your life is not about grand gestures or waiting for the perfect moment. It is about acting now with awareness and courage." Amir sank to his knees. The weight he had carried for so long, regret, fear, indecision, began to lift. He realized that his days had only felt wasted because he had believed in waiting for the right time, when, in truth, the right time was always now. "Every moment you hesitate," the sage continued, "you are like a pebble sitting in your hand, heavy and unused. But when you throw it, it moves. Even the smallest ripple can reach the farthest shore. Life is your river. It waits for you to act, to create, to move." Amir's chest felt lighter than air. Tears mixed with the river water, but he smiled through them. For the first time, he understood that purpose was not something to chase, but something to create with every deliberate choice, every mindful action. The night descended, and the stars reflected perfectly on the river, shimmering like tiny lanterns. Amir stayed there for a while, listening to the gentle ripple of the water. He felt connected, not to a distant shore, not to a destination, but to the present moment, to the simple, powerful act of moving forward. When he finally returned to the city, he was not the same man. The cluttered apartment no longer felt like a trap, but a space of possibility. The guitar by the wall was picked up again. The books were dusted, journals reopened, and he began writing down ideas, small steps toward the life he wanted. Work still existed, responsibilities remained, but he approached them with a new mindset. Intentional, present, awake. Each day was no longer a repetitive cycle, but a series of ripples in his river. He spoke to friends, shared dreams, and took action, even when imperfect. And with each action, he felt a quiet joy growing inside him, a joy that comes from truly living rather than simply existing. And what about you? Are you holding a pebble in your hand, weighed down by fear, doubt, or regret? Are you waiting for the perfect moment to start your journey when the truth is, the moment is now? Every day you hesitate is a ripple that never reaches the shore of your potential. Think about the small steps you can take today: a conversation, a creation, a risk, a dream pursued. It doesn't have to be perfect. The act itself is what matters. Like Amir, you may stumble. You may throw the pebble awkwardly at first, but each attempt shapes your life, creating ripples that spread farther than you can imagine. Ask yourself, What is one thing I can do today that I've been avoiding? What is one dream I can breathe life into, even if it's imperfect? You are capable of change. You are capable of action. And you are capable of finally stopping the slow, quiet wasting of your life. Thank you for listening to Amir's story and for taking a moment to reflect on your own journey. Remember, life is not about waiting for the perfect opportunity or lamenting the past. It is about the choices you make now, no matter how small, and the courage to act with intention. If this story resonated with you, consider sharing it with someone who might need a gentle reminder that their life is not wasted. Like, comment, and subscribe for more stories that inspire reflection, action, and growth. Take a deep breath, look at the river of your own life, and then throw your pebble. Start creating ripples. Your life is waiting.